Hey everybody, it's Boardman21 and today's build is going to be the Lightning Blast channeled by the Mage, or by the Sorcerer. It is a very powerful build, and with it teamed up with Flame Lord and the damage reduction that you can get from Lightning Aegis, you're actually very tanky and you're actually capable of beating the entire game with it, even with a lot of extra modifiers. Now this is a version of Foe's build, who has beaten the whole game and proven that it can be done, and I'll have a couple of the boss fights, but we haven't gone through the whole timeline ourselves. However, you can see just how powerful it is and how you'll be able to stay alive during all the boss fights and learn the mechanics of them. Of course, you won't be able to just face tank, you do have to dodge the big hits, but it's a very good build for getting you started. Now, there will be some differences. This isn't exactly what Foe was running. I don't have all of his skill trees or passives, and he was wearing a couple of uniques that one, either we don't have, or two, that I didn't find to be the best in slot in that. But I'll show you what he showed and what he has, and if you find the items along the way and try them out and like them, you can use them. Alright, let's go ahead and get into the skills. For skills, we're going to be running Elemental Nova, Focus, Lightning Blast, Flame Ward, and Teleport. For Elemental Nova, we have this set up to 1, be channeled to have high area, to have high crit chance, and as just ice. We have 1 point in Lightning Nova, 4 points in Elemental Expanse, 3 points in Charged Destruction, 1 point in Luminaire, 1 point in Silenced Spark, 1 point in Ice Nova, 1 point in Elemental Tranquility, 1 point in Glyphs of Winter, and 3 points in Shatter Nova. Very important to have this. 3 points in Glacial Might, and 1 point in Spreading Frost. For Focus, we're just using this to get our mana back as fast as possible. We have 4 points in Desperate Meditation, 4 points in Mana Flooded, 5 points in Energy Battery, 1 point in Energy Infusion, 1 point in Everward, 5 points in Mind's Shield. For Lightning Blast, we have 3 points in Storm Razor, 4 points in Chain Lightning, 1 point in Convergence, 2 points in Lightning Attunement, 2 points in Volatile Lightning, 2 points in Crackling Speed, 3 points in Shatter Shock, 2 points in Positive Protection, and 1 point in Insidious Conduction to make sure that you are channeling it. For Flame Ward, we have this set up to have as many charges as possible, and you want to use it defensively. So we have 5 points in Stalwart Defense, so when you use it you get 200 ward, 1 point in Concentrated Shielding, 2 points in Fuel the Flames, 1 point in Dual Aegis. This will give you that +1 charge. With 5 points in Barrier, you will take 40% less hit damage, and 4 points in Prismatic Buffer, you have 800 more elemental protections while using it, and 2 points in Dilation to give you a little bit more duration. For Teleport, we have this set up for more protection, some decoys, and then of course to cast elemental protection while we teleport. We have 5 points in Plasma Protection, 1 point in Decoy Position, 1 point in Unexpected Copy, 4 points in Elemental Affinity, 1 point in Elemental Dawn, 1 point in Elemental Dusk, and 1 point in Elemental Midnight. 4 points in Crystalline Passage, and 2 points in Time Dilation. For passives, we have 24 points in the Mage base class, with 5 points in Scholar, 8 points in Elementalist, 5 points in Arcanist, and 5 points in Mage Flurry. This 5 points in Mage Flurry isn't super needed as you are channeling, so feel free to switch those 5 points out with anything else like Arcane Current, or even more crit multiplier and crit chance with Knowledge of Destruction. We do put the 1 point in Rune of Winter to change over Lightning Blast to a cold skill, as we are stacking cold damage. We have 0 points in the Spellblade and 92 points in the Sorcerer. We have 7 points in Calculated Destruction, 8 points in Mana Shell, 10 points in Lost Knowledge, 10 points in Wisdom, 5 points in Arcane Momentum. Again, this cast speed is not really needed, so feel free to change these 5 points out and put them somewhere else. 8 points in Cryomancer, 5 points in Chill to the Bone, 8 points in Arcane Avalanche, 1 point in Crackling Precision, 5 points in Arcane Obliteration, 10 points in Arcane Insight, and 5 points in both Archmage, and 5 points in Spell Slinger. For items, so for idols, We probably don't have the best ones in slot, and I'm not sure which ones foe are wearing, but we did get +4 cult spell damage. This will increase your damage a little bit. You'll also have a chance to get fire aura for critical strike, which means that the more fire auras you get, if mobs run in on you, the more likely are they to die before they get a hit actually on you. And on top of that, they now have an icon for fire aura buff stacks, so you'll actually see how many stacks that you have, and we can stack quite a few. The other thing that we're using is just increased mana for our two 1x4 idols. For items, you want spell damage, cold damage, freeze rate multiplier, and you can go with any sort of protection or something on hit, like shock on hit if you want in that 4th slot. The most important things is on the chest piece, you do want +1 flame ward charge, and you do want mana spent gained as ward. For us, we also went with int, and we went with damage dealt to mana before health. For the helm, we did set glancing blow, intelligence, more mana spent gained as ward, and we got some adaptive spell damage added while we are channeling to increase our damage a little bit. Now, it's been recommended by foe that you wear the Ashen Crown, so that you don't have to worry about physical damage, and you can target Elemental Nova to anywhere that you want, which is helpful, especially if you want to stay out of range of the mobs. You can simply put this in that slot if you want. For the amulet, we went with set elemental, and then we have a bunch of dodge and shock. For our catalyst, instead of a two-hander, we went with a catalyst because we just wanted to have more dodge, and we also wanted just to be able to have a higher crit chance. You can run just a two-handed instead if you want, and just do a sorcery staff or a gate staff and just do more damage straight up. In our rings, we have set elemental and increased dodge. You can only have the set dodge on 3 items now. It can only be on the rings and relic, so that's all that we have. We also have armor and protections while channeling. Since both of the skills we're using are channeling abilities, it made sense to put those on. With the belt, we went with more dodge. You want to have movement speed on the boots, and we went with some leech in case we do drop down into life, but you do keep a pretty good amount of ward. I won't say you go over 1,000 at any point, but if you do notice that your life is starting to take some damage, or right before a big hit, if you know you can't get out, you're going to use flame ward. It's going to be your oh shit button, and you take a lot less damage with it. In fact, you take 40% less hit damage with that, you take 50% less hit damage with glancing blow, and then with lightning aegis you take another 40% less damage. So a lot of damage mitigations going on, and then once you do get into the life, another 9% of the damage is going to go to your mana instead of your health. So a lot of damage reductions going on, which will make you pretty tanky. For our character sheet, you can see that our armor and protections are not, super well, but the moment that you start channeling, say that we're channeling a lightning blast, you'll see that we do get some decent defense out of it. We have a 40% chance to dodge. We have too much glancing blow, so like I said, if you were to switch it over, you can get away with wearing the Ashen Crown and not worry about that. You'll get a little less, but what you do get out of it is that you'll take a lot less physical damage, and it's all taken as fire, so when you're channeling, it's just a bigger damage reduction overall. And then the ability to use Elemental Nova to target it wherever is just a huge advantage. And for our defense stats, here's our defense. Other stats, that's all of that. For the gameplay, you're just going to run through, like I said, and you're going to use one Elemental Nova. You can cast it anywhere you want if you're using the Ashen Crown. There is another belt that drops from some of the wares, but it's gated in the new mono, so if you find it, it's a ward belt, and it super useful. It gives you 100% of the mana that you've used as ward, and some other benefits like word retention. If you find it, I recommend that you use it in the belt slot. You will have trouble getting the glancing blow at that point, so I would recommend maybe not wearing the Ashen Crown with it, or throw a shield on and put set glancing blow on a shield. However, those are your choices. Alright, here's some gameplay.